What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to more Let's Play Pokemon White. In the last episode, we all but concluded our adventures of backtracking throughout the Unova region with Strength and Surf in tow. We made it to Mistralton Cave, caught ourselves our very first legendary in the game, Cobalion, the purported leader of the Swords of Justice. Today, we're going to be catching another member of the Swords of Justice, but before we do that, I need to show you my final team member, who I also managed to capture in Mistralton Cave. And I already showed what this is in the last episode. It is Axew. But I wanted to show the final result of catching. I've caught about 12 females with Moldbreaker. I said I wasn't going to settle on Moldbreaker at all. I was preferring female just because of a nickname choice that I had for it. Also, it kind of balances out our team with 3 males and 3 females. And yeah. I'm excited to introduce to you my Axew, Bathory, named after the, I already said this in the last episode, but just to reiterate, named after the serial killer of yore, given the Executioner Headsman's Axe design of this line once it's fully evolved. I felt like that was a pretty good reference for the name and whatnot, and she is probably one of the most famous, I guess, killer females of all of history. And it's also just a really cool name, Bathory. It rolls right off the tongue. It sounds so epic. I mean, there's a freaking metal band named after her. I absolutely love it. Regardless, like I said, I wasn't going to settle until I got Moldbreaker because Rivalry is an awful ability. But more than anything, I was extremely excited to get this nature in particular, which is the Jolly nature. So I caught 12 of them. 7 of the Axews probably had just straight up bad natures that like lowered attack or lowered speed, which I was not going to settle for. And I mean, I was okay with like getting a nature that, like, for instance, raised special defense but lower special attack, or even an adamant nature or any attack raising nature, except for maybe at the expense of speed, would have been fine. But no, I actually managed to get one that was sporting a Jolly nature. And why is this so good? That is because it raises speed at the expense of special attack. Pretty much everything you could ever ask for in this Pokemon. This is going to be a really hard-hitting, very fast Icirrus as far as this line is concerned once it is fully evolved, and I am super excited about it. But we're not going to be using Axew today because we still, like I said, have one more legendary to go and catch. And welcome to Mistralton City, everybody! Yes, this is the place we want to go for our next big legendary adventure. So let's head off to Pinwheel Forest. Now, you might remember the last time we were here, there was a particular area of the forest that was blocked off to us because there was an old man standing in our way. Well, he is gone now, and I don't think he leaves the second that you catch Cobalion. I think he leaves a little bit before that, but there's another barrier that is in the way if you try to go over here before you catch Cobalion. So let me quickly... Hey, pardon me. For some reason, I couldn't find my repels for a second there, but I did manage to find it. Anyway, there's another barrier that blocks your way if you try to go in here. Also, the Pokemon in this particular patch of grass are going to be much higher level than the patches of grass elsewhere in the forest. I'm going to head down this way briefly because there are some items we can grab, and I also should put that on because right here we can get ourselves a rare candy, which is going to come in handy a little bit later. And I believe, I could have sworn, I think there's an item also that we can surf our way to. So let's do that really quickly. And then we'll head deeper into the forest proper. Let's see. I think there is one over here, but I'm not 100. Yep, there is. Okay. So we got a silver powder, which this is the bug type raising, damage raising held item. Again, like silk scarfs, like a soft sand, like the mystic water, you get the picture. So pretty nice to have that, given, you know, that it's in Pinwheel Forest. It makes a whole lot of sense. But I don't think there's anything else for us to douse for around here, but there are still some items to be had, like this one down here, which is TM22 Solar Beam. This is normally a 2-turn attack. It takes 1 turn to charge up the attack and the second turn to unleash it. It has a base power of 120. It is a special attack, and it has an accuracy of 100. However, if sunny day is in play, bright sunlight is in play, this will shorten it to 1 turn. So it's very good for weather-based teams and hits very hard, and is also a pretty versatile move that can be learned by a lot more than just grass types. So this right here is where the barriers are usually going to be if you try to come here before you catch Cobalion. You won't be able to go in this dark patch ahead, but we're going to be heading on inside. And as soon as I approach this, as you can see here, I'm going to do the smart thing, and I'm going to be saving. before I go any further, just because I don't want to start this fight and accidentally knock this Pokemon out. Not that that's going to be extremely hard to do, or extremely easy to do, excuse me, because we've got ourselves another pretty tanky Swords of Justice on our hands. Also, for that exact reason, I actually think I'm going to switch to Naz here because he is going to be ideal for this. But let's talk to you, and let's begin our battle against Virizion, the second Sword of Justice, who is a grass and fighting type. On top of that, Virizion is also the highest special defense of the Swords of Justice, to contrast with Cobalion's physical defense. It learns a couple of grass type moves that are unique to itself, but aside from that, it's really not anything super special. I'm just going to be using Psybeam on this thing if I can help it, just so that I can knock it down really close, but also not knock it out directly. Although I do believe that Virizion actually packs a healing move, which it's not going to be using on Naz because it's a grass type move, but it is going to be incredibly annoying in this fight because it's going to keep Virizion off of critical health for much of this fight. Now, much like with Cobalion, and like I've said with this Let's Play, I'm going to do my best to not just like show the entire fight and me throwing Pokeballs at it forever and ever. So with that gist of how Virizion works out of the way, I'll just leave you until we've caught this thing. Hey, there we go. That looked like it was going to be really painful because I just could not keep Virizion's health down. I mean, I probably threw about 10 Pokeballs, but it was also like 25 turns with the constant healing and just trying to keep that health down. But Giga Drain kept... I couldn't use Psybeam too much. So I have to use Flash Cannon, which was doing about as much damage as Giga Drain healed, and it was just a little frustrating. But regardless, I got it. Oh, I love this Pokemon. Look at how beautiful that thing is. Absolutely gorgeous design. Such a fan of Virizion. My favorite of the Swords of Justice, without a doubt. But there we go. We caught ourselves another legendary, and now all that's left is to, well, return back to Icirrus City. So I'll see you all there in just a second. And here we are, but in the Pokemon Center of all places, because I want to set the record straight a little bit before we go any further. There's also an NPC in here I want to talk to before we actually leave. But I've got the whole team with me. Everybody is here and accounted for. Bathory is currently holding the experience share because she is going to need it for a little bit, but that won't last too long because we'll get to a point where I can just use the lucky egg on her and she will be fine. Let's talk about Lumiette for a second. So I said before that once we evolve her into Lampent, I'm not going to want to actually evolve her again for some time. The reason being is that Lampent only evolves via a Duskstone. When you evolve Pokemon via evolutionary stones, they no longer continue to learn moves upon leveling up. You can absolutely go back to the mover learner and get moves they should have learned up to that point, but that's about it. Now, with that in mind, there is a move that Lumiette is not going to be learning until level 55 that is extremely crucial to her moveset, and I didn't want to use the Duskstone until we got to that point. However, it just occurred to me that with the amount of ground that we have covered in this game thus far, we are going to be getting the TM that gives us that exact move well before Lumiette gets those 14 levels necessary before she evolves, which means that I technically could just evolve her immediately if I wanted to. Now, I'm not going to do that. We're going to let her spend a little bit more time as a Lampent, but I just wanted to set the record straight and say I am not going to wait until level 55. I'm not going to wait a very long time to evolve her like I said I was going to before. We are... I believe, do we already have access to a Dust Zone, or we're going to be getting one very, very soon? I could actually check really quickly. Yeah, we do already have one, so I can use that on her right away, but I think I'm going to wait a little bit longer because this next gym is actually going to be a total cakewalk for her, and it'll all make sense once we get in there. But for right now, let's just talk about Icirrus City itself. All right, this guy right here, I actually confused him with another NPC back on Route 18. There was that man with the sunglasses inside the house who was asking for a rare item. I said that he will give you money based on certain stones and gems and the like. He'll give you double the value for each of those stones. That is not true. That is this guy that I was thinking of right here. He'll give you double for any evolutionary stones, anything with stone in the name, gems, red, blue, and yellow and green shards. And actually, are yellow shards a thing? I guess they are a thing, yeah. All those things he will give you double their value for. The guy in Route 18, and I'm actually going to sell him a Ghost Gem just to kind of show how this works. So Ghost Gem he'll buy for 200 when a normal Pokemon Mart would have bought that for 100. But the guy back on Route 18 I was thinking of is specifically looking for rare bones, which he will buy for 10,000 a piece. Now, there is a way of getting repeated rare bones, but other than that, that guy has absolutely no other purpose, and I made an error in confusing the two. All right, now, welcome to not snow-covered Icirrus City, where a bunch of things are now open to us now that the snow has cleared. That being said, there is actually something I forgot to get before I left the area, and I'm going to be fixing that before the end of the episode, so do bear with me. Something that can be talked about now, though, that we are in the, well, I guess we're in autumn right now. Spring, summer, and autumn, all of these apply. There's actually Pokemon we can catch in the city. Yes, in the city. How often does that actually happen? 2 new Pokemon, in fact, so I'm going to go over those before I do anything else. So let's discuss Shelmet and Stunfisk. Shelmet is a bug-type Pokemon that evolves into Excelgor when traded for Carablast. We covered its counter-type before, and how its role completely changes upon evolving. Shelmet is a highly defensive and slow Pokemon, but Excelgor is extremely fast and extremely hard-hitting. Its speed stat is 145, making it the fastest Pokemon in this entire generation, and its 100 base special attack really rounds it out as a good special sweeper. But in line with the theme of its evolution, this thing has pathetic defenses that make it more of a flimsy glass cannon. Thankfully, it can circumvent this with moves like U-turn, so it can hit hard and get out fast, as well as good moves like Giga Drain and Recover in the event that it does somehow survive a hit. But don't expect it to do that too often. If we're going to say which of the two is more well-rounded, I would have to go with Escavalier, especially thanks to its dual typing, but Excelgor does have the higher potential. It just doesn't realize that potential as often as its counterpart. Stunfisk is a derpy-looking ground and electric-type Pokemon that does not evolve, and its typing is probably the best thing about it. It's very slow, with solid defenses and simply average special attack, but poor physical attack. Its learn set is quite nice between things like Muddy Water, Mudshot, and Thunderbolt, but its stats really make it a hard sell, and nothing it learns really leans into its status as a wall. It's just not great at any one thing. It's average at best, and it has a neat typing, looks funny, and I can't really say much more good about it than that. And now with all that done, let us proceed. I don't think there are any more items left for me to grab in this area, again, unless I am in the right season, which I am currently not. What I'm going to do instead is head on up. We're going to go this way. We got these 4 people kind of dancing around over here by the Pokemon Center. These people aren't really actually doing anything. They just are spin and twirl, spin and twirl. They're like kind of like a set piece. Dance, dance, 2 dragons. Mix it up day and night because everything is all right. What does this one say? Spin apart, mix and twirl. They're not really doing anything special. You would think that with the show they're putting on here that they've got, and I've also put them out of sync, which I find kind of hilarious. But you think they'd be doing something notable. They're not. Don't worry about them. They're just kind of there to make a scene. What is notable, however, is this, the Pokemon Fan Club. Fans of everything Pokemon. All right, let's talk about this place. So there's 2 people to talk to here. This lady right here is the friendship checker. She'll check how friendly your Pokemon is towards you. I'm going to choose Arthur because he is my OG. Super friendly to you. I'm a bit jealous. So that's really all she is here, is the friendship checker. This guy, on the other hand, is a bit more interesting. Ahem! I am the chairman who loves Pokemon the most among Pokefans in the entire world. If you are a trainer, will you show me how you are raising your Pokemon with loving care? Now, that keyword there is raising. So let's show him a Pokemon. So you can see here, I've got, well, I mean, everyone's basically in their 40s and whatnot, but Arthur is my OG. He has been around the longest, probably followed by Naz and Crush after the fact, then Shelob, then Lumia, and Bathory hasn't even gained a single level yet. Now, this is all important because this guy gives us items based on how many levels we've raised our Pokemon up from. So as long as you have at least raised them a total of 25 levels, he will give you an item. If it's the increase is from 25 to 49 levels, he'll give you an experience share. If it's 50 to 98, he'll give you a cleanse tag, which is a held item that prevents wild Pokemon encounters more readily. But if you have raised a Pokemon a grand total of 99 levels, I'm talking from level 1, the second it's come out of the egg, all the way up to level 100, then he will give you a King's Rock, which is a held item that increases the possibilities of flinch and is also necessary for evolving certain Pokemon. That is pretty much how this works. So out of all these Pokemon, probably the only one that all these levels is going to apply to is Arthur. So let's show him Arthur. This Superior was level 5 when you met, but now it's level 42. You've raised it well. You must be affectionate. Yeah, I don't think I was going to get an item from any of my other Pokemon, because even Naz, I think, has only gained something like, what, like 22 levels or something along those lines? Anyway, the experience shared in the items case. There's a token of gratitude for showing me your great love for your Pokemon. And that's it. That's really all that there is to that. Next up, we're going to be heading on over this way. The gym is right there. We're going to be ignoring that for the time being. And I'm going to be heading on into this house. This lady is going to stop us. Hi, this way, please. Her name is Y. Exciting, thrilling, zippy, chilling. It's Pep Quiz. Today's challenger is this person. And this guy's, aha, hiya, welcome. Pep Quiz starts now. Answer lots of quizzy questions and watch your brain get brainier. Let's start with a question. Good luck. A question. What is the attaching Pokemon? The attaching Pokemon? Oh man, that is a tremendously difficult question. Can the challenger answer this? H-I-N-T, H-I-N-T. Uh-oh, the audience is asking for a hint. Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's a very small Pokemon. Haha, this is a good hint. Challenger, please answer. What is the attaching Pokemon? Well, this is one of those questions that you're probably going to actually need to read the dex entries to fully understand. There is one Pokemon in this game that's pretty dang small based on just looking at it, but I don't think you would realize just how small it is unless you actually looked at its Pokedex entry. But quite possibly the smallest Pokemon, I believe, ever, as well as one that is all about literally attaching to things, is Jiltic. Let's confirm. Woohoo! That is C-O-R-R-E-C-T! You go. Yeah, you do. Yeah, good hustle. Congratulations. Now this is a prize. It's an antidote. Thank you. That's a kind of an anticlimactic prize for what was honestly a rather tough question. A lot of them are a lot easier than that, but that was a little bit more difficult. So yeah, every single day you can come into this house and you can do a quiz and get yourself a free item for it. The items themselves aren't really anything all that great, but some of the questions can actually be a little bit on the tougher side if you don't, obviously look them up and spoil it for yourself. But yeah, that's another thing that you can do here in Icirrus City. It's got some appeal to it, I suppose, so that's pretty darn cool. Now, last thing we're going to be doing in this episode is we are going to be revert the season back to winter. We're going to be grabbing one more item, and we're also going to be meeting one more NPC that I failed to meet last time, so give me just a second. There we are. Now, let's head on down this way once again. We're going to try to make our way past the ice, and then what I'm going to do is head up this way. Let's pull out the dowsing machine again. That's going to allow me to grab this item over here, a tiny mushroom. Hilarious that you can only get these mushrooms in the winter season, because that makes sense. Mushrooms can't handle the cold, I thought, but whatever. We also have a house over here that is only accessible here in the winter, so let's go on inside. And we got 3 people to talk to. I'm going to talk to the kid first. My dad used to have a cool job in a faraway region. What are you going to say, lady? Welcome! Hey, I have a lot of souvenirs that my sweetie's old coworker gave me. I don't mind giving you one. Levi obtained a Rage Candy Bar, which, much like a Castelia Cone, is a novelty item that is basically just a full heal. Heard the Rage Candy Bar is the favorite of my sweetie's old coworker. So we got a Rage Candy Bar. He's off from a faraway region. Must be Johto, given that Rage Candy Bars come from that game and they're named after the Lake of Rage. Sir, what the heck did you do over in Johto exactly? Oh, member of Team Rocket I was... long time gone. But Team Rocket, bye-bye a go-go, I, my region, went home. Make new Team Rocket I did, so myself I pledged, but now married I am. Or I married am. Now for Team Rocket there is no time by me, but happy family is big hooray. Okay, first of all, is that like appropriate for Nintendo of America to be, or whoever localized this to be like racist towards the lack of English of Japanese people in a Japanese video? I don't frickin' know. Second of all, yeah, so he was kidnapping and murdering Pokemon, just so you know. So yeah, your husband is not necessarily a sweetie, but I'm not going to break that illusion for you. I'm just going to keep moving on, and I'm going to take my Rage Candy Bar, and we're going to say that's that to this episode, because ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode very, very much. In the next episode, we are going to be taking on the Icirrus City Gym. mainly with just Lumiette, although Crush will be there on standby as backup and hopefully getting a lot of experience for my new Axew. So with all that said, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode very, very much, and I will see you all in the next one.